We all came across a person in life, either a former teammate or someone from a past relationship. They always have a great personality, gets along with other people, and always have great performances. But when it matters most and when you really, really need them, they end up shrinking. And just because of that, they end up doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. That person I'm referring to right now is Paul George, in my humble opinion. Paul George is facing some type of identity crisis of sorts. He's 29 years old in the prime of his career in the NBA, and he's playing on the Los Angeles Clippers aside one of the best players in the world, Kawhi Leonard. And right now, they're locked in a tough series against the Dallas Mavericks. And right now, we can repeat of the same old story. He dealt with some playoff P a while back when he was playing with the OKC Thunder. But at the same time, they were in the series against the Utah Jazz, where he got locked up by Jingling Joe Ingles, unathletic 6'9" small forward that can shoot lights out. But his defense is nothing special. Nothing special at all. In that series, Paul George had some of the worst performances of his career off some of the worst shooting splints that we have seen in the playoffs. In the first round of the Western Conference playoffs, Game 6, where OKC really needed a push from Paul George, guess what he did? Yeah, it's terrible. He has a nerve to call himself Playoff P, and every single year when we expect something different, he never shows up. And that's just the problem with him. And you're seeing the same thing right now with the LA Clippers. The game before this one, he had 14 points. This game recently, he had only 11 points off some of the worst shooting splits. So you mean to tell me somebody that is named Playoff P or whatever the hell that you want to dub him as has that moniker in his name and he's giving up performances like this?
No look to George for three.
Y'all ain't met Playoff P yet.
It got a little chippy early. I mean, is he?
Hey man, what is wrong with you?
And the worst part about all of this to me is that we know you're a young, talented player, but yeah, you always seem to chip at the mouth at the worst times. And everybody gives you that perception that we're giving you right now. You end up being shocked and try to be all defensive. If Paul George keeps up the trend for his career, who knows what his legacy is going to be. He's never made a finals. He has so many bad playoff games that it's routine for people to call him Playoff P, knowing that he's going to have bad performances. And teammates are not going to depend on you. You're supposed to be a top 15, top 10 player in the NBA, or at least trying to be. And you're syncing it up like this? All I'm saying is, Paul George, if you really are the superstar player that people claim for you to be and you claim yourself to be, please step it up and carry this load for the Clippers this series. That's the difference between a LeBron or a Giannis or a Steph. They show up when it counts and they win games. You can't claim to be a superstar in the NBA, but you're faltering like this in the playoffs. That cannot work out. If you're the player that we perceive you to be, or the player that you perceive yourself to be, then please step it up and win this series for the Clippers. They would really need it right now, in my humble opinion.